All right, welcome. What's poppin'? Now today we have a special guest. We have John Kim.
Hey guys.
He actually also has a YouTube channel. It's called So Encoded. So you guys should check that out. He has a lot of good insights. Now the reason why I have him today is because he has a very special case. He did not come from a CS background. Do you even have a CS degree?
No, I don't.
He does not.
Yeah.
But where do you work?
I work at Capital One.
Capital One as?
A software engineer.
Software engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just got senior too, so that's
Really?
pretty nice. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I have never gone senior yet. But yeah, so as you can see, it's very possible to get a software engineering job without a degree. So we're going to be talking about that. All right, so before we start, I just want to ask like a few questions.
Yeah.
You know, just to determine what kind of engineer you are. So, first question, Mac or PC?
Both, actually.
Both?
Yeah.
You can't choose both, man.
I have both and I use both.
At work, do you use...
I use Mac because they give me a Mac.
Oh shit, I thought it would be the opposite. I thought you
No.
would use Mac personally and then PC at work.
No, Capital One's pretty hip, man.
Holy shit. Yeah, because when I worked for Citadel, they gave me Windows.
Yeah, but
Damn. Okay, so what about home? You use Windows?
I use both. But Windows for gaming,
Oh,
Mac for, you know, like
got it.
everything else.
Okay.
Development, yeah, Mac.
I mean, it makes sense. Windows for
Sure.
interesting. Spaces or tabs?
Tabs. Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite IDE?
I like a lot. I like Atom right now.
Atom?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Do you use like any special plugins or like?
Yeah, I have tons.
Nice.
Like I try to not go too crazy.
Right. Yeah, I don't want to get too cluttered.
Yeah, there's like
Yeah.
one where like hits like a number that pops out. I don't
Oh,
know,
wow.
but, like, every time you type. So I don't.
What
like
about languages? Your favorite language?
that. I like JavaScript right now. I'm
JavaScript?
doing web, but
Okay.
people like to hate it. So
Dude, I love JavaScript.
I love JavaScript.
Node.js is my jam. And also Google with the V8 engine.
Yep.
It's amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
Cool. All right, so I guess now we're just gonna go over more, kind of like a personal question, just to get to know you better. So as a kid, I mean, I'm guessing maybe you didn't know much about engineering and stuff like that, but did you have any affinity to building things?
Yeah, I mean Lego was my thing
Oh.
for a while,
Me too.
but I actually just really like video games. That was
Nice.
like my thing. Like I hated studying. I just like video games. I like making stuff in video games, and yeah, my dad was an engineer, so I kind of had that like drilled in me, like making stuff and like.
Cool. I got two important questions.
Okay.
First question, which games do you play?
Super Smash. That was like my thing.
Wait, Melee?
Yeah.
Bro! Dude, actually?
Yeah, no, seriously.
Wait, who was your character?
I played Sheik.
Oh,
Sheik.
fuck, man. Yeah, I played Marth.
Okay.
And
Marth
Sheik
was
is
good.
usually, like... Sheik would have an advantage against Marth.
Really? I didn't get that like
Into it?
I mean, I played a lot.
Like, did you ever go to competitions and stuff?
No,
Oh,
I mean
okay.
my parents wouldn't let me. You know, they thought video
Like,
games was a
did
waste
you
of
know
time.
how to use, like, wave dash?
Wave dash? Yeah,
Or
I did a little
canceling
bit of
and
wave
stuff?
dashing,
Okay.
and then like.
Okay, what about the second question? So you work for Capital One now.
Mhm.
Do you, like, enjoy your job? Like, you know,
Yeah,
you like
no,
it?
I love my job.
Okay.
Actually, my bosses are really good.
Mhm.
Capital One has really good perks.
Mhm.
So a lot of people don't know this because Capital
Right.
One is more an East Coast company,
Right.
but they're huge.
Mhm.
They have like
I see.
crazy campuses. It's not a boring old
Right.
thing.
The reason,
company.
yeah, the reason why I ask is because you love video games, right?
Yeah.
So I was wondering, like, do you ever think about, you know, moving into game development?
So the thing is, I have a few friends who are in games,
Mhm.
and then their number one tip is to not get into games if you like video games.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
Like, when you work for gaming, it's actually
It drains you. Yeah,
Yeah.
And video game programming is probably one of the hardest
Yeah.
to do and time consuming to do.
Yeah,
Like,
time
just-
consuming.
Just to make a little guy move, it takes you like
Right.
hours. You know, so.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. So maybe no plans to go to gaming.
Nah, and the money's in like apps.
Mhm.
To be honest,
Mhm.
the money's in like web and mobile
Right.
apps. So.
Cool. So what about on your free time? Like, what do you do nowadays? Like,
I have a newborn, so
really?
Yeah,
Damn,
yeah,
you look so young though.
I am, but I'm married, so.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
It's yeah, that's takes up a lot of time. I like to make YouTube videos, but
Nice.
I actually like really enjoy programming, like,
Mhm.
and I'm like kind of lucky that I get to do that for a living too.
Yeah. All right. So I guess before we start, I should have one question. So what did you do in college, first of all?
So I actually just studied economics and
Economics.
accounting. Yeah.
So what did you want to do before college? Like, did you want to be an economist? Is
I-
that even what it's called? No.
No, actually, my dad's an engineer, and he's always pushed me to be an engineer. But I was pretty bad at school, so.
Rebel. Okay,
Yeah.
I got it. I got it. Okay, so you did economics, and then what'd you end up with? Did you do internships or anything?
I did like 0 internships, so I should have.
Bro, you should have watched the videos, man.
Hey, you were I don't even know what you were
Dude,
doing at
man.
the time. You were probably like pretty.
I was probably like playing StarCraft or something.
Yeah.
Probably less good than
That's
you.
pretty much
but-
what I did during those times.
Makes
So,
sense,
yeah.
makes sense. But yeah, so that's the thing. So you did economics, and then you didn't do any internships, and then did you land a job right after you graduated?
No, actually, I didn't. So
Okay.
it was like 2010, right after the financial crisis. So it was really tough. The market
Okay.
was pretty tough. So
Got it. Okay.
so I ended up going back to school for this CAP program. It's like
Oh.
this is in Santa Clara. It's like I want to say like 8 months program where you get all the classes for accounting essentially to
Got
sit
it,
for the
got
CPA
it.
exam.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got an accounting job, I
Yeah,
assume?
and
Okay.
then I got my accounting job. So I had like interviews at like EY and like the
Mhm.
Big Fours by Blue
Oh,
Ghost
it's
Singapore.
pretty good. I mean, I have a lot
Yeah.
of friends who want to end up with those.
Yeah,
Big
but I didn't
Four.
get them. I didn't
Oh,
get them.
okay.
So I ended up working at a. Come on, man.
Sorry, man.
But yeah, I ended up working at a small Korean firm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh, nice. Okay. Cool. So then, when did you start knowing about coding, or did you knew before but you just didn't get into it?
So it was actually during that time, my friends and I, we kind of got together. We're just tinkering.
Mhm.
It was like my roommate and another friend who got back. He was like studying. He was unemployed at the
Right.
time. Yeah, we
Mhm.
just started tinkering, and I actually started doing art instead.
Okay. So you guys were making an app, and you were doing like
Yeah.
the design part kind of.
Yeah, yeah. I did
Okay.
like design. I made like
I see.
like circles and squares and stuff. Like
And then
that,
you
so.
started wanting to code. Is that how it happened?
Actually it came out of necessity, like
Oh, okay.
necessity, I
Right,
guess.
right.
Yeah, because they found jobs as engineers essentially, and I went back to San Jose, and then I was like, I have all these art skills,
Mhm.
but I still want to make like apps. So that's when I started.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, what was the app about?
It was just video games. We made this like
Oh, nice.
hamster. It's actually really embarrassing.
Was it-
I'll find some clips of it and I'll show you.
Dope, dope.
Yeah.
Was it like a cute game, or was it like a?
It was a cute game.
Oh, I love
yeah,
cute games.
yeah,
Are cool.
cute games
I like
are.
that. Yeah. So what was your first development job, and how'd you get that?
Actually, my first development actual job would be this current one that
Oh,
I
okay,
have.
cool.
Yeah, but I knew a CEO in Korea who had a small app company,
Mm.
so I did some stuff with them,
Right.
and I called that my
Okay.
internship.
So connections.
Connections.
Connections are pretty
yeah,
important.
it's the grind and
Right.
the hustle. You know,
Mhm.
that's all that matters.
So yeah, in the end, I just want to talk about how important connections are, because yes, I talk about internships and all of that, but in the end, the reason why I got these internships was because of connections, and that connection for me is U Waterloo. You know, because they're known to produce like high quality engineers, and then that's why they hire us. So in the end, connections are really important. I hate the word networking, but I do think that's one of the most valuable skill you can have.
I agree.
Mhm. And sometimes, not gonna lie, it's about luck if you happen to know someone. For example, I happen to know my brother, and he happened to be, he paved the way for me. So, yeah. So how did you even get those Capital One? So you got a few internships, like with the Korean CEO.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what else was on your resume?
So I like self-studied on and off for like 3 years.
Uh-huh.
I tried like iOS and
Right.
Java,
Yeah.
but I ended up going to a boot camp. That's actually so that was probably the biggest like boost. But the boot camp itself doesn't really help you in terms of boosting your resume. Actually, sometimes it's considered a negative. Like there's like people looking for like no boot camp applications, right? But I did a lot of projects and hackathons when I was at the boot camp. So.
Okay, so what was that boot camp called?
It's called Dev Boot Camp.
Okay, and how much did it cost?
So the total was like 13,000, I believe,
Uh-huh.
maybe 15,000. I forget exactly,
Mhm.
but it was pretty hefty. It was a decent amount. Luckily, I had
Yeah.
saved up.
I guess like how did you choose your boot camp? Because now there are so many.
Yeah.
And some people think some of them are scams, some of them are not.
Sure.
How like why this one?
So it kind of goes back to connections.
Okay. Okay.
I did so when during my whole time in like investigating
Mhm.
about programming, I started a podcast where I like interviewed software engineers, and there was this one guy who I interviewed. He went to Hack Reactor, and he was telling me about his experience, and he was actually an accountant too, going to a engineer. So he gave me a lot of information, and he told me like the ones that are good. Right now, I would say, because my bootcamp no longer exists, sad. But I would say Hack Reactor and App Academy is probably the best.
Okay.
There's a few other good ones, but you gotta watch out.
Right. So on your resume, basically, you had a few internships and then the boot camp, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when you applied to Capital One.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
So actually, I never applied. I met someone there at a
okay.
meetup.
Nice.
So again, like all my interviews I ever got after my boot camp was because I met people. Like I reached out, and yeah, so.
Got it. Okay. So did you interview for them or did you just get the job?
No, they have a pretty like stringent interview process,
Okay.
like any Fortune 500 company.
Got it.
But the initial like interview, like I didn't have to go through a parser.
I
Which
see.
I don't think my resume would have gone through because I don't have
Right.
Waterloo or like.
Because I went to Waterloo. Yeah, I guess that's one thing I want to mention too. Like a lot of people ask me like, oh, is it important to get a CS degree and stuff like that? And I say like for the skills, maybe not. You know, for the actual work experience, maybe not. But the reason is because they have so many applicants that the only way they can go through all the applicants is by filtering people out.
Yep.
And like for them, yes, they know that they might filter out really talented people if, you know, sometimes they don't have a CS degree, but they're still very talented. But it's just, you know, the opportunity cost of going through all of them is just too high for them.
No.
You know, so it's like I understand them, it's shitty, but it's just a limitation. We don't have enough resources to go through all of them. So your way to standing out is to have these stupid keywords like Ivy League.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But yeah, it sucks. But I think that's why trying to get a connection or like a referral, you know, it's really important.
Yeah, referrals are like super important. I found work like a month after my boot camp, and that's on the very fast side. Most of my friends, they took 6 to a year, 6 months to a year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's something they leave at boot camps.
I see.
You know, 95% grad, you know, success rate, but maybe a year later.
So at Capital One, when you just started, did you work with people who had CS degrees, or are they like you who didn't have CS degrees?
A good mix of both, actually.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And surprisingly, I would say the people who went to boot camps were, in a sense, like more like driven.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting how that is.
Yeah, like I felt that a lot at my other jobs too, because you feel like you need to prove yourself.
Exactly.
You know?
It's like imposter syndrome. Right?
Exactly. So can you talk more about imposter syndrome? Like, did you have it?
I did for a little bit.
Like how long?
It's maybe like 3 months.
Okay.
Like I always say it takes like 3 months to get used to a job.
Right, makes sense. Yeah.
Maybe it was like a job, like a new job thing, but it was like totally different for me. New job, big company, career switch, all this stuff. So.
So like what were you most afraid of that you thought you didn't know?
To put it simply, asking dumb questions.
Okay.
You know, because like you don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
So it's like I had questions about Jira. Like, stupid shit like that.
Yeah, asking about dumb questions is interesting because a lot of people say like, oh, don't be afraid to ask questions, there's no such thing as dumb questions. Yeah, maybe that's true, like maybe for school or something like that, but when your reputation is on the line, when your job is on the line, when you have, you know, people looking at you, working with you, sometimes their judgment can lead to like future repercussions, right?
Totally. Yeah.
And maybe internship's not that bad because you're gonna leave anyways, but when it's a full-time job, it's a lot harder. I was lucky that I did a lot of internships, so I asked all the stupid questions there. So if ever you do an internship, make sure to ask a stupid question then, not when you're full-time.
Yeah.
For example, I asked what LS was in the terminal, you know, to look at your file system. Yeah, stuff like that. And then the guy just looked at me, he's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, how the hell did we hire you? You know, but here's the thing, like, you know, you don't know, you know, so.
You don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly. So yeah, so it is kind of a tricky thing, especially at full-time. So I'm not going to say, oh, you should just ask the question, you know. But yeah, cool. So what about, do you have any like tips and tricks to stand out? I mean, like, first of all, I guess some people would probably even look down on you because you came from boot camp. So how do you prove to them that like, no, I'm good shit?
So there's a few ways, and everyone has like different opinions. What I did was I just won a bunch of hackathons. That was
actually, can we talk about that hackathon? Like, what was it?
So
and which one?
Let's see. So I won one of the sponsor prizes from TechCrunch, Disrupt. That's like probably the largest hackathon. And then there was a few other ones. One at Facebook called Chime Hack. That was really fun. That was my first.
Those are pretty big names. I was very surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a small one where it was like Hack Against Violence. It was like some. Yeah, that one was like the small one.
So can you tell me about one, like I guess the best one, the one that you won, or like the one that you felt like you did the most work or that you learned the most? Can you talk about that hackathon?
Sure. Actually, the Facebook one was the number, like probably the like changing moment, because that was the first one that I won, And it was literally right after I learned about like RESTful services. We just built the Crud app at the Facebook, and we won based on that.
Wow.
And, like, that really changed my mind. That like I thought hackathons were for these like nerdy, like super like, you know, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's
not gonna lie. Most of the times when I go to hackathons, they're all like phonies.
Yeah.
You know, I honestly hate that because they just spit out like all these technologies that they don't know how to use just to like sound smart and stuff. Imposter syndrome, man.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, so you made a CRUD app. Like, what did it do? Like,
so that one basically, the whole theme was to report like sexual abuse.
Oh, okay.
So we made an app where basically people who are like consultants and like people who have like skills to help people who, you know, got traumatized, like they could connect on one side and like they could be on their messenger or whatever, and then the other like people who actually needed help, they could go in and it was like kind of connecting them anonymously.
Got it.
So it was just a CRUD app.
Yeah, that's actually really cool because like I like to tell people a lot about making apps. You know, like it's not about the latest technology. It's not about how good your technology is, especially because I kind of I'm leaning on the product side now. I care about, you know, does your product add value to a person's life? Yeah, building a simple REST API but having tremendous value to it. For example, you know, the app that you made is a lot more important than using all the fancy technology.
No, it's true. And then most of the judges, they don't care.
Exactly.
You know, they just want to know, they just want a good presentation and that good picture, you know, so
yeah,
that's it.
Cool. So what about like the interview for Capital One? How'd you prepare for that?
So, you know, standard cracking the coding interviews. I went to like meetups where they did interview preps. I talked to some my, you know, other bootcamp grads. We kind of got together and like asked each other questions, like lots of HackerRank problems and things like that.
So when you actually did the interview, did you feel prepared because of the cracking the coding interview stuff?
Yeah, definitely. The cracking, like, that book is probably the holy grail of like programming interview questions. It's great. Yeah.
So what's the percentage of like technical questions and like non-technical questions, and do you think those matter?
So for Capital One, they made me do take home. So I created a React app where like I listed like a bunch of bank transactions and stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah.
And then they had like 4 people interview me. So there was 3 technical interviews. So they asked me like a lot of technical questions. I did some whiteboarding, and then we had 1 behavior questions.
Cool. So, nice. Okay, so a lot of those traditional coding questions.
Yeah, traditional. Right? Like I'm not sure exactly the percentage, but it was a lot of coding. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so back to personal life. Yeah, how old's your kid now?
Yeah, my kid's like 3 months. He just had his 100th day. Man, it's crazy. They're going like this.
Are you gonna? Is it a he or she?
It's a he.
Yeah, are you gonna make him a programmer?
Yeah, I am actually.
Actually?
Well, I mean, you know, who knows what they're gonna grow up to be, but.
So, okay, parenting. We're gonna change into a parenting channel now. But yeah, so question: how, like, I always thought that parents always try to raise their kids in ways that they've never been raised before, you know, because they kind of want to either 1, live vicariously through their kids, or 2, have their kids live the life they couldn't have. Do you think that's true? Are you gonna do that?
I don't know. I had a really good childhood, so nice. I love my parents. I still like. We're kind of lucky in a sense where I know a lot of people don't like speak to their parents often once they grow up and have their own family, but we talk like every day. So I want to try to encourage them to do as like kind of raise them similarly, but there's different things. Like they're really strict on school, and I'm not a school guy.
Right.
So I just want them to be passionate about something. I don't care what it is. Like I say programming, but
yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because like for my parents, I think the reason why they were probably stricter on school was because they don't want me to end up like them, where they don't have like good jobs and stuff like that. So they want me to just be decently wealthy to live a normal life. And then for me, imagine if I had a kid, in my mind, what I would do is like, oh, I have a decent living. It's okay if they fail at school because I want them to live the life I couldn't have, which is, you know, to express your artistic freedom, you know, to do more art classes because I didn't do that much. You know, and there were a lot of sports that I wanted to do, but we just didn't have the money to do it. So I think if I had a kid, I would be like, yo, man, play guitar, do that. But I think he would be like, yo, fuck my parents.
Yeah, I don't want to do anything.
Yeah, why is he pushing me to do this? I just want to do good in school. I'm like, no, don't. But yeah.
You gotta find yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Find yourself. Dude, go do YouTube, go vlog.
Yeah, exactly. Go travel.
Yeah, go travel, man.
Go travel longer.
He's like, no, I just want to go to Stanford.
I just want to study.
Yeah. But yeah, cool, nice. So I guess thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah.
And things are very invaluable. You want to plug your channel and film?
Yeah, I got it. So my name is John, as I mentioned. You guys can check me out at Soul Encoded, like for everything, like Instagram and YouTube. I do a lot of like programming related, like lecture type videos and a little bit of like vlogging type videos. So come check me out.
I think that's about it, and thank you for watching. See you guys next time.
Peace.